In this episode of Man vs. Marriage, things change.
The podcast.
How good do you want your life to be?
It's truly about becoming the best version of yourself that's possible.
This is Man vs. Marriage.
The podcast.
Welcome back to another episode of Man vs. Marriage. It is I, the Q-Dog, in the Moran family studio with my lovely wife, Jeannie Moran.
Hello.
And as you can tell, we are MacGyvering this thing because we are in the middle of a situation, which we will get into. So please, bear with us when it comes to the sound. I usually pride myself on how well our podcast sound is, how crisp, how clear. This is going to take some magic from our producer, Ashley. So let's get right into it. Things change. We all know that. But in this instance, we want to talk to you about the journey we've been on, and you do not want to miss this episode. I'm sure there's plenty of things that you'll be able to relate to as a listener with what's going on. But if you are an avid listener of the show, you will recall that we went through a couple of episodes with a couple of our children, one of them being 2A, Mr. Aaron Clutcher. And we're just going to kick off a little bit of discussion about how things have changed. And one of the things that's changed the most is that Aaron decided to pick up and leave. And that kind of sent the house into an uproar, would you say?
Just a little.
Yeah, it was difficult, and I'm not here to call him out. You know, people, adults, have to make their decisions, but you know, it was a very difficult time. And in the midst of him leaving, his brother Josiah, you know, we had agreed together that we would bring him out and make him a part of the family and give him an opportunity to have a different life. And with Aaron leaving, we gave Josiah the option whether to go or to stay. And we knew it was a bumpy road already, but he decided that he was going to stay and we were going to make the best of it. And I want to give you a quote from a book called It Takes What It Takes. And it'll kind of sing the outline of this particular podcast. And the quote is this: adversity is the stress test for your philosophy and your process. And that is from Trevor Moawad. And man, I hope that is definitely from his book, because it was in one of my notebooks that I keep in the truck. And it was right next to a quote from Kevin Hart that shocked me. But I know that it was a different pen, so it must have been while I was listening to It Takes What It Takes. I was just going through some old notes. So with Aaron leaving, and that was difficult. We had several talks about it, and it just turned out that he had to go his own way and do his own thing. Josiah coming in now, you know, he loses his brother and is kind of left here with us now. He's been a part of our life. He was a part of our life way back when he was 3 years old, pretty intensely. Just meaning that he was around us pretty constant.
Oh, yeah, he lived with us. His whole family lived with us for a while when they had some situations going on. But I don't know. I think Josiah's chosen to stay. We've chosen to help him get on the right path. So although it's a huge change, there were a few really good things that came out of it. One being that our kids learned the hard lesson of, yes, it's your life and your choices, but your choices do affect those around you.
Yeah.
And seeing how this particular situation, and it was also a lesson in say what you mean what you say. Excuse me. Because there were promises made. There were things that were said between Aaron and the family and the kids. And with this sudden change, those things are not coming to pass. Those words fell basically flat. And the kids learned really fast Okay, if I can't say it and mean it, then I can't say it, or I shouldn't say it. And it's still a struggle. I mean, it's still something they're going to have to learn. But it was cool for me to hear that the kids grasped that and understood the impact of it.
Yeah, and like I say, I don't want to call him out. If you heard the show, you know what he's endeavoring to do, and we've all set out on a course to make the best of something, and sometimes we win and sometimes we lose, and the ultimate outcome for Aaron is yet to be seen. I absolutely love the guy. I love him to death, and I hope that things work out for his good, and ultimately he comes out ahead and accomplishes his goals. But there are some good things that happened right in the middle of a difficult situation, because Josiah got to experience the true, well, pretty true holiday, Moran style, even though it was more difficult because of,
It was a 2020 version, but, it's still...
Enough said, right?
Yeah, it was still... he had never had set traditions. He had never had, he didn't understand a lot of the things that we did because he had never had it. Something as simple as we make cookies and we decorate them. Okay, well, you make cookies to eat them, not to decorate them. No, we actually make them to decorate them, and 9 times out of 10, we don't eat half of them. It's just something the kids enjoy doing. He stayed up and expressed a lot of the things that he didn't do over Christmas. It was a huge deal. Our house, it is a huge deal to put up the Christmas tree. They chomp at the bit starting in July. When do we start Christmas? So for him, watching everybody put the tree up, at first he wasn't really into it. And then once he noticed the bits and pieces, we do Elf on the Shelf with autism in the house because they still believe in Santa. So we stick to that. And he actually wanted to take part with the older kids and help set that stuff up and put it in motion. And that was pretty cool because, he's doing something for an older, younger brother. And, he's never had that. He's the baby.
It's part of what we are endeavoring as a mom and a dad and family to present to Josiah so that he is able to make a different path for himself. And we work very hard to make sure that, we're presenting the right picture of what a marriage should be, what a father and a mother should be, and then also what it means to have siblings who care. And I'm not saying that he doesn't have siblings who care, but siblings who are there consistently growing up, settling differences, having negotiations, working through chaos and frustration and chores and schoolwork and things of that nature. And it has not been an easy ride. It's been bumpy so far, to say the least.
It has, and it's not a knock against his other siblings, his true siblings, because the situation they all come from, everybody pretty much had to each for his own, because once you got to a certain point, you were on your own.
Yeah.
And you had to make decisions on what was best for you and which direction to go. And that doesn't necessarily always mean that you can look out for anybody else, because like in his situation, he was bouncing from couch to couch.
Yeah.
So he didn't have anybody else to look out for. He just needed to make sure that he had a meal and a place to sleep every day. So, it's right now he's learning what it's like to be able to go into the kitchen and the refrigerator's almost always full. If he wants something or he needs something, he's learning you don't just go get what you want. There's a process to ask mom and dad, present your case. And he gets frustrated quite a bit because, fast food is deliverable. Let's just do this and I'll give you the money. That's great, but that's not what I want you to do with your money. I want you to hold on to your money. He's learning a whole other way of life than what he's used to, and transitioning that from being around a group of, 15 to 20 boys that he hung out with all the time to moving into a house with 7 teenage females and a 19-year-old male who doesn't think like a 19-year-old and has the temperament of, a really pissed off drunk right now. it's a lot to take on. And then you add autism to the mix, and it's just a whole other gambit. But he's adjusting well. He's got his head on his shoulders. He knows what he needs to do. He's finally got an understanding of what the school program wants of him, what we expect of him. He got his first dose of "You're grounded." That was a whole new experience for him.
Yeah.
But he likes the structure, and he openly admits, like the other day when he talked to you, just as an example, I appreciated the fact that he said, when you go work out in the garage, will you please come get me? I want to do this, but I know me. If I don't have somebody asking me or standing behind me and getting on me to do it, I just won't do it. Okay, he's 16. It takes balls to realize that at 16, I need accountability. Can you help me with this? Because I have a goal, and I know me. I'm going to be lazy if I'm given the choice. Only because it's what he knows.
Yeah, and we're working. It's a process for us, and it's important for us. When any of the kids show interest in something, for us to be a part of it, whether it means me watching an episode of some stupid show called Vampire Diaries, or getting back into basketball, which I've been out of for a while. I don't know if it was because of the lockouts or what happened. I just got away from basketball, but this dude loves basketball, and I wanna get into that with him. All right, what is all that coughing going on? I want to get into that with him because I want us to be able to connect, but I want to show interest and get excited about the things he's excited about. Hunter helped me with that with baseball. I had gotten away from baseball. His love for baseball brought me back to it, and reminds me of the times where I played, where I coached, and then when he played. And so it's a new place of connection for us. And I just took the same approach that I was working with Aaron, and when it comes to the smoker and teaching him how to use the smoker, we're teaching him how to cook and how to thoroughly be self-sufficient, which is something that's been an important part of our philosophy as parents. We work hard to make sure that when these kids get out in the world, as much as we do shelter them, when they get out in the world, that they will, be self-sufficient and have things to do. Now, before Christmas, we had some family that came down with COVID, and we thought it was the end for them. So Jeannie and I had to blaze the trail out of state and make a trip just a week before Christmas. And it was a pretty tough time. I mean, it was what was it? A 4-day turnaround?
5, I think. We went total of 5 days by the time we got back, because we literally got home at 12:01 the night that we got home. But it was a quick decision. We had about a month of ups and downs, and we'd kind of gone back and forth in discussion, and on the third one, I called Quincy in tears and said, okay, I don't know what to do with this, and he just made the quick decision, pack a bag, we're out, and we went and did what we needed to do. Thankfully, everything worked out in the end, but it has still been a huge up and down process. Yesterday was the first day I think we all were able to fully breathe.
Yeah,
in almost 2 months.
And then you get to the point where our house directly gets affected with COVID. So we had some Moran family members here in our house test COVID positive, and then a lot of us test COVID negative, but it put us in like three consecutive quarantines.
Yeah.
Where it stretched out, and now not only are the kids doing school from home, but now I'm doing work from home.
And mommy is down.
and mom went down. Jeannie definitely got the worst of the COVID.
Thankfully, we got the light end compared to what some people are going through and what other family members have gone through. But for our house, if you can picture 9 teenagers all trying to do school and autism running amok, and dad trying to work in the space of our bedroom, and then mom goes down hard and can't function. I mean, I slept probably 14, 16 hours a day for a good 3 days.
Yeah. And of course the kids really stepped up, and they really shined through that.
They did. They really did.
Just taking the responsibility of the house so I could work and just try to manage Hunter and Kirsten while work is going on. And that week of work, we had our annual meetings for the company. So, for several hours, I was on Zoom meetings while the kids were on Zoom meetings. It was an interesting time, but with us being quarantined, that means, we're not going out of the house. We're not going out shopping. So we're having to order through Instacart or Walmart online. And then there's no more going to the gym. So we have to figure out, putting this makeshift garage gym together. And it is easy if you're going to work out at home just to decide, I'm not going to work out today. It's a lot easier to do that.
You got a PJ in your ear going, where are you? Where are you? Where?
Well, I got me in my ear, so fortunately, you know.
I need the gruff voice behind me.
What is up, Man versus Marriage Nation? It is the Q Dog, and I want to let you know that I don't generally get excited about a whole lot of things. I just live an excited life, but I get jacked up and excited when people get excited, and my favorite person is Jeannie. And when she gets excited, man, it gets me all fired up. And that's why I want you to go over to Etsy and go to a shop called Love and Blankets. Love, A-N-D, Blankets. And I've had 11 blankets made, and I have to tell you, they are fantastic quality, very, very easy to order, and you've heard the saying before that you get what you pay for. Well, when Samantha makes you a blanket, you get more than you paid for. And it's called Love and Blankets. There is no offer code. There is no coupon because she's not sponsoring the show. I was so impressed that I just asked her permission to share it on my show. And for more credibility for Love and Blankets, here is Jeannie to tell you about her blanket.
My King's blanket that you bought me is
Yeah.
my favorite. He bought it for me for Christmas last year, and I think I've used it almost every single day because you like to use the air conditioner when it's hot. But it is my favorite. It's kind of heavy, weighted, extremely warm, and I don't share because it's my King's blanket. But we got different characters and different teams and stuff for the kids, so everybody's got their own, and it's been really cool so far.
Customize your blanket. Love and Blankets on Etsy. Let Samantha take care of you. I'm telling you, your wife will absolutely love the blanket. I don't know if that's why she calls it Love and Blankets. But hey, go do it. All right, we out. So with that, with us looking at, we're in California, so we've been on perpetual lockdown anyway, but still we had some freedom to move about to get some shopping or things like that done before we quarantined ourselves. And we just made the choice to quarantine responsibly. I mean, you can sneak out with your mask on and nobody knows, but we work hard with integrity and doing what's right even when nobody's looking. So we just decided that we would stay inside, stay quarantined, and try to get through it as a family, get the house disinfected as best we could while we're still breathing each other's air and get through it. And thank God we're on the tail end of it. But with that came the idea that do we really want to make the kids go through this distance learning? Since there's not going to be a true high school experience, do we want to give them the option to work through and graduate faster and get on to either college or their career? And so that's another thing that's changed for us. And we do have some kids that truly want to do it. And then another piece of this with things changing is Hunter's anger has it's been growing. And we're trying
He's cooped up. I think that's a lot of it because we were going to school a day or two during the week, and that helped. But because There were staff members that were continually being exposed, which means the kids are exposed. And Hunter and Kirsten both have pre-existing health situations that Kirsten, of all people, we have to be extremely careful with. The way her brain works, she doesn't cough properly. She doesn't, if she was to throw up in her sleep, she doesn't jump up and get sick. She just lays there and lets it happen. So there were a lot of things that we had to consider. So being that we already had family that was serious and was touch and go for a little bit, we weren't sure if we were going to have to bail and go out of town like we did. So we were trying to keep me safe and Quincy safe and keep everything out of the house and stay away from everybody so we didn't jeopardize whether or not I had to go somewhere. And then, so we took the kids out of school completely for a month. Well, given all the stress and everything that I was under, we chose to take them out of virtual also because I couldn't sit and focus.
Yeah.
In the mental and emotional state that I was in. It was not feasible. So I think that kind of added to it. And then Dad's home to work, and Hunter can't grasp that Dad's working because Dad's home. And if Dad's home, then I should be allowed to have boy time, and we should be able to watch TV together, and I should be able to do these things that I want to do. And that's not how it works because Dad's on a Zoom meeting, and you have to keep autism quiet, which is a feat in itself. So we were kind of taking turns in figuring out a routine for him. Yesterday, finally getting him on that Zoom call with his class,
Man.
I think made a world of difference. Hopefully, we'll be able to get him back into that routine. The school wants him back on campus. I'm still not okay to let them back yet since we got hit once already and only 3 of us got it. I'm still hesitant to release them back into school because if they catch it now, that puts you back on quarantine. That means we're back in the house working from home, and that just screws it just starts us all over again. So we're kind of in that adjustment phase of what do we do now?
Yeah.
We're kind of in the middle, and we don't know what we're supposed to do next.
Now, in the middle of all that going on, Jeannie is still working hard to try to complete her novel because she's going to be kicking a minimum of one of those novels out.
3 by the end of this year.
Like I said, a minimum of 1 this year. And it, with all that was just spoken, that really all this started around Thanksgiving. So we're kind of giving you back when, from Aaron till now.
Aaron started the week of our anniversary, so it's been since like November 7th.
Yeah.
We have just been a complete emotional roller coaster for.
Yeah. And not like there wasn't already things going on early in November that had the entire country in an uproar. In our political system, and then that creates emotions either way. And so I know that everybody with a beating heart is going through something, and we're sharing our journey because it's important for each of us to stop and take a look back at where we've been and then figure out which way we want to go forward. And that's why we're sharing our journey with you, because I want you to take a look, guys, at what it is you've been going through. So for maybe like the last 6 months or so. And I say the last 6 months, which be 7 now, because one of the focal points of 2020 was losing my grandpa in June of last year. So I'm kind of just using that as like a catalyst for, so that was a major life event. And then where did it go from there? I mean, there was a major bright spot, at the first of the year when Alabama, laid waste to Notre Dame, as well as Ohio State, and claimed their 18th national championship, solidifying Nick Saban as the greatest of all time when it comes to head coaches. So, I mean, that was exciting. But I didn't even get to watch that on my regular television because one of our children broke my new TV downstairs.
The life lesson of restitution.
Yeah. Yeah. That's another story where, you talk to kids about, horseplay and whatnot all the time. And then somebody throws a penny at somebody and they dodge it. It hits the TV. And then the TV I got in April is down for the count. And there's no protection plan, Geek Squad, nothing.
And our favorite, what had happened was, okay, so let me just explain. I understand you're upset, but let me just tell you, all of those things just fell on deaf ears because the big TV right before the game, a week before our major game. It's like, dude, just take your licks, figure it out. Now it's, you're just going to work it off.
Yeah. Anytime you get you and the cough, lady.
COVID, shut up.
Get over it already. But you know what? You cough anyway all the time. We got to get sophisticated and get you a cough button.
Oh, focus. Get off my coffin. Stop.
Dude, you said focus. I thought another F word was coming out. Oh,
Not yet.
But yeah, right in the middle of that, you know, that was a big lesson. You know, it was Josiah. He was throwing a penny at Ashlyn. Those two war against each other. But in the middle of that, it was like his first thought when he broke the TV is, they're going to boot me out.
He actually thought we were going to kick him out because in previous situations, had he done something like that, that would have been the first response.
My first response was choke him out, but I didn't do it. But it was a lesson in what family is supposed to be when you're committed to one another, because we're committed to each other as a family. And I told him, I said, dude, kicking you out never even crossed my mind, but he is going to work to pay off that television, because I had to dip deep into the savings for us to get another TV. We do a lot of, and I guess it's more important now than ever, we do a lot of family time around sports.
Hockey is back, and I'm a happy girl.
You are. You are a very happy girl. Anyway, to finish this up, Jeannie's fighting to finish her novel, and then she stumbled upon an exercise that has been helping her, and we'll bring the exercise to the podcast so that it can help you. I myself am going to do it. I'm working on the power voice in the midst of all this and failing miserably to be consistent with that. And if you know me, I hate not being consistent and not accomplishing things. And then it just feels, it's that overwhelming feeling or ever present feeling that there hasn't been a break between 20 and 21, which there never really is, but there hasn't been that break to let the dust settle, take a deep breath, and get started on the next chapter. And it's been very difficult, but it's that way for all of us. And it's how you approach the next evolution of your situation that can make it a success, or it can make it the same old song, second verse. And that's really the most important part, aside from our journey. I'm glad to get on here and talk to Jeannie about what we're going through and let you listen in, because I believe you can pick out areas of your life where things are changing, and hearing us may help you gain some perception on your life and what's changing. Maybe you'll go to your wife and ask her, how are you doing? Things are changing. How are things going with you? How are you doing today? How is your heart? Or however y'all communicate. So what we're going to be doing is looking at how we're going to recalibrate after recognizing all this change, and what is our approach going to be to move forward. We have really, really big dreams in this family, big goals. They're not wishes, dreams, or hopes. They're actually goals that we're going to get into. What are you looking at me like that for?
I was just thinking, all I can think is the big 2021 coffee talk.
Yeah.
This is going to be a big one.
Yeah, it is. It is. And returning to, you know, the Moran coffee talk, or whatever the crap we were going to call it, while it doesn't seem important, it seems to us that we need to look at where we're at. And so I made a purpose outline for 2021 that you've already heard about, and I discussed with little Mo today that instead of doing that once a year, I'm going to put that into practice for whoever wants to at the house, to do it once a month, to see how did last month go, what did I like and appreciate, and then what is it that I would have done differently, and what is my plan this month to get to do it better. And that I believe will help us as a group to conquer these goals, because they have some lofty goals. We have lofty goals, and we need to check the boxes and get it done. So that'll be the next thing we do, is just talk about what our plan forward is. And that's something that we may share with you in some future episodes. But I really think it's important for us to continue to share our journey, because I want you to look at your journey, where you are, what you're facing, what you're going through, so that you can make sure that you are on the path to living life on purpose. It's very, very important to live life on purpose, and you need to know what that purpose is. And it's part of you creating that, so you do it. I really appreciate you listening. I know it's been a hassle listening to us without the typical sound equipment, but we got to make sure that our producer stays safe and we don't spread this COVID-19 garbage to her. And so we're just taking every precaution necessary. Thank you for listening. We really appreciate it. I am Quincy the Q Dog in the studio with Jeannie Moran, and this is Man vs. Marriage.
The podcast. How good do you want your life to be?
You gotta live on purpose, for a purpose.
It's truly about becoming the best version of yourself that's possible. This is Man vs. Marriage, the podcast.